Meet no Frank Sinatra.
Hey, good morning to you. It's 8 minutes after 9 o'clock. This is 93.1 and the 901190. We're glad you're with us, and we appreciate all of you tuning in today and joining us. So, Stony Rushing joins us today. He's one of our Union County commissioners, and always glad to have you. How you doing, Stony?
I'm doing fine, Shane. How are you this
Good.
morning?
Wanted to bring him in and talk a little bit about this water rate increase. It's 15.5% now, 15.5% later.
Within the next 13 months, it'll go up by approximately 33%.
Okay.
Yeah, so, officially to maintain and improve Union County's water and wastewater system, the Board of Governors and the Board of Commissioners approved the new water and wastewater rate schedule. Was approved on December the 2nd. The new rate schedule includes annual rate increases of 15.5% effective February the 1st, 2020, and then again January 1st, 2021. The rate increases help fund investment and maintenance in water and wastewater projects over the next couple years, totaling $305.8 million to ensure safe and reliable water for residents of the county. Still, the rub is this is, in a 13, 14-month period, it's a 31% rate increase.
Yeah, when you compound 15.5 on top of 15.5, it's more. Actually, again, probably around 33% or a little bit more.
Okay. Did something happen where, we have this huge bill and the need arises to raise rates by that much? Or is it a case where we should have seen this coming 15 years ago and started increasing a little each time to pay for this project?
What this is about is a sewer plant in northern Union County.
Okay.
For 25 plus years, probably there's been a desire to have that.
Wastewater treatment?
Wastewater
Okay.
treatment plant. We stopped it back in the 2006, 2007 time period when we had 13 million gallons permitted on a 3 million gallon sewer plant. And the state stepped in and actually said, no, that's, you're enough. You're not managing the system. What it is was back then was managing for an emergency. And this is kind of the similar situation. We have alternatives that we could go to, and we directed staff in the past few years to look for those alternatives.
Mm-hmm.
Within the past year, we've directed them to check the alternatives. The cost of the Yadkin plant was originally pitched as a solution to eastern and north, the areas of, if you look at Union County at the map of Union County, Rocky River Road south and Old Monroe Road south of Old Monroe Road is the Catawba Basin.
Okay.
And anything outside of that is the Rocky River Basin. So maybe 2/3 of the county is the Rocky River Basin. And there is no water source really to speak of in the Rocky River Basin other than Anson County so far.
Mm-hmm.
So this was an answer to that we could get our own water source and supply the areas north of Old Monroe Road and east of Rocky River Road south to take care of the citizens. And everybody kind of said, hey, that's a good idea. We do need a water source there. We have arsenic in the wells. We have those issues. Well, it was never intended for the people, and that's become evident over the past 5 years I've been in office. They never intended it for the citizens in Union County. We have citizens now that can't even tap onto existing lines. We look at a short line with 20, 30 houses on it, maybe 2,000 feet, and they don't want to put them on county water, but yet we want to bring in a line from, we want to spend, it was a $200 million project. This past few years gone to $300 million. And about 33%. So the cost raised 33%. Now all of a sudden we have to raise 33% in rates.
But we're close to $50 million into that project, money spent.
Yeah,
already, correct?
And it's money. We don't even have the permits that we need from the regulatory agencies, and we're $50 million into it. So the longer this thing draws out, legal fees, other fees, and we've asked this question: at what point do you say this is a bad game? It's a boondoggle. At what point do you say enough is enough and go to our alternatives? There's a couple alternatives that we've looked at, but they were never seriously considered according to our staff because they would hurt the IBT from Yadkin, and it's always been about the Yadkin project. Again, not because that we have to have that much water, it's that much water requires the need for a sewer plant because you can't put it in the ground. In the areas that it's going to, this water will be shifted directly to Indian Trail, Stylings, Hemi Bridge, that area in the western part of the county that's already has massive growth, where they can't right now take care of the commitments that we've made. The hospital's in danger because they can't do, but they can only do the first phase of the new hospital. They're talking about Atrium's talking about building over there because there's not enough sewer available. We have issues there, and it's like an emergency-driven decision. You got to make this decision because of all the things that we have out there. If we build the plant and shift all the gallons of water, the first 12 million gallons over to the western part of the county, you put it into the sewer system, you can't shift it to the Catawba Basin. It's an interbasin transfer. That's what we stayed in court so long fighting, was the interbasin transfer. So now, what do you do with the water? You can't dump it on the ground. When people flush their toilets, it's got to go somewhere.
Right.
So that necessitates a need for a $122 million sewer plant.
All right, so this project was started out roughly 200 or so and ballooned up to 300.
Yeah, it's continually, they gave us a figure of $2 million a month.
So when was that started?
About
or approved rather
in the 2011, 12, 13 time period. That's when it started coming to, they started talking about doing it, trying to figure out alternatives. They talked to Anson County.
So what was the plan to pay for it then? I'm just trying to figure out why.
Rates. When I got in office in 2014, they took us into meetings and said, we need to raise the rates here a little bit, there a little bit. You remember the nice commercials that the Club for Growth played on your station about the 6.5% increase.
Right.
Well, that was 6.5% over several years. So it was 6.5 one year, 6.5 the next, 6.5 the next. And that was supposed to have taken care of the issue. But that didn't account for a $100 million increase in just the Yadkin project alone. Which, again, at what point do you say, hey, this has been a mistake, we'll find alternatives? It's not like and for people who say, well, this will shut down growth in Union County. No, if you didn't do it, it wouldn't shut down growth in Union County. The city of Monroe's got plans for a sewer plant expansion in Monroe. The city of Monroe has water. We can get water from our
it's
neighbors.
the only municipality in the county that does its own water, right? Monroe, city
That's
of Monroe.
right. So really, will Union County continue to grow and thrive? Yes, just in a different way. It won't be all in western Union County where the traffic's horrendous. The schools are at more capacity. And there's other problems that need to be done.
So what? I'm just. Why didn't they being previous boards, figure out a way to fund this thing back in 2011 when it was?
They did, but when the costs escalate yearly, and when
so much that we got to raise it 31% now.
Well, again,
to cover it.
Again, sometimes an elected board is told something, and then all of a sudden there becomes an emergency. So the emergency is, again, and I've by now it shouldn't be any secret to anybody because I've mentioned it about every meeting that I could, that again, you're not buying a water plant, you're buying a sewer plant and all the things that come along with it when you put the water in like they're proposing to do it. It's a regional system, and they looks at it as a regional system that not only is it Union County, but it's how does Mecklenburg County benefit from it? How does other counties benefit from it? Are there commercial projects in Mecklenburg County that need a sewer plant that they don't have a sewer plant that they maybe can use over there? That's always been the plan, again, for 25 years, that there's remember back on years ago, there was a regional plant plan for Rocky River where Cabarrus and Mecklenburg and Union County. So these same people, these same investors in land, the Club for Growth types, they still have that money invested and would like to see fruit out of it. And, this is a way to get it. The problem is you're shifting the wealth from the ratepayers to these investor types that are going to benefit from this. We're not, I have water, and I would not mind paying $6 more a month for my water if it were going to go to my neighbors, if it were going to go to the churches and the businesses and the people who have contaminated wells. For $900 million, which is actually the end game. And it will not be $900 million. It'll be well over $1 billion when this is over with. When you're talking about that much money, you could supply water to every home in Union County, every contaminated well, every person that has bad drinking water. You could put that water all over Union County and still have hundreds of $1 millions left over.
Well, I have a question. If I don't think anybody on the board is arguing that something has to be done about water. I think that's something that everybody would agree on. Why were none of you've mentioned a couple of times alternate plans. Why were none of the alternate plans seriously discussed?
Well, they told us at the retreat that where this was, and it was not proposed for 33%. It was proposed for 15.5%. And
Okay.
I told them I wouldn't support that then. But then they came back. They told us at that meeting the reason that those things were not considered was because it would endanger the interbasin transfer that we had for the Yadkin project. So if you get 3 million gallons from another source, then maybe they take 3 million gallons away from that interbasin transfer. So all of a sudden, that $300 million that's going to cost to build that plant to get the dirty water to us, now it just becomes less feasible each time that you do it. And to supply every person in Union County right now that has a well, you're looking at 4 million gallons a day, roughly.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're bringing in, with this Yadkin project, 12 million to begin with, and then another eventually 23 million gallons or more. So that's when you look at, I think the interbasin transfers for a total of maybe 28. But it's when you're looking at that and you say, well, is this for the people who live here and have lived here their whole life and paid taxes? Absolutely not. Not only is it not for them, there's a big effort to keep them from tapping on anyways.
Mm-hmm.
There's policies that are being made without the Board of Commissioners' consent to lessen the availability of water in parts of the county that need it.
Who were making those decisions?
They were made over Public Works by the Director of Public Works, past director, not the new one, but the past director. And they make them for whatever reason. But when you're doing everything you can to clear the runway for massive growth and new people and new homes, without at the same time addressing the people that live here, it's not honest to tell people in a press release that this is for maintenance of the system and improvement of the system for the people who live here.
Uh-huh.
It's not. It's for new homes to be built.
Well,
up to 75 years from now.
You know, we're hearing about these huge projects, 500 homes going in on Ridge Road and, you know, several others, just massive. And the narrative being played out is that, you know, this was all being done to help developers with these huge projects.
When you have water and sewer available, now, water availability just means that you can have clean drinking water.
Mm-hmm.
Sewer availability means that you can have high density growth.
Mm-hmm.
So for a long time, elected officials in the county have said, I'm against rezoning this project. I'm against high density. Well, if you build a sewer plant that's going to accommodate 40,000 houses, you're going to have to build 40,000 houses to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
And one way or the other, those houses are going to be built. Now, if you just build them on 1 acre lots, then you're going to have all your acreage taken over, 40,000 acres taken over by one house per acre. You can build a house in clustering, even if the land doesn't perk. And I tried to explain this to people. In Eastern Union County, we're under perk zoning. If you have 100 acres and 1 acre perks, guess how many houses you can build? One. And so we're limited by what we can do in Eastern and Southern and Northern Union County by the perk sites.
Mm-hmm.
But when sewer goes in, if you have 100 acres, you can build 100 houses regardless. And you can build them all on 1/4 acre lots and just leave the rest as open space.
We're seeing
or
that.
you can build them all over the 100 acres.
Now,
You take up your land, you hurt your wildlife areas. It's something that, does sewer have its place? Yes. And we still can build 4,800 homes in the Catawba Basin right now with the availability that we have. And we will be able to double everything that's been built in the Catawba Basin, which is Wesley Chapel, Waxhaw, Weddington, Marvin, that southern part of Indian Trail, the southern part maybe of Stallings, everything that's below that Oldman Road area. We have a 15 million gallon permit for sewer, and we're less than half of that now.
so if you just to boil it down for people that don't understand all the charts and stuff, would it be fair to say that in your opinion, what's happening is the people out there that need water but don't need sewer are now going to not get either, and we're going to have to pay for sewer that some people will never use.
Right. We're doing this water plant, and there's no doubt about it. There's no question about it. And people can say what they want to. If you talk to somebody else, they can tell you whatever. You can't put 12 million gallons of water into Western Union County in the Rocky River Basin, which is north of Old Monroe Road, east of basically Rocky River Road South, and not build a sewer plant.
Whereas the water, there are other places in the county where we could run water to people, and they don't need sewer. They don't want sewer. They got a septic tank. They just want the water.
That's right.
Okay.
They just need the water. And for $900 million, you could probably do it twice. You could put water to every house in the county twice. I mean, it's a massive amount of money that we're taking money out of people's pockets now. If the developers the people concentrate on the local guys because we know them. This isn't local development. This is national money that you're talking about here.
Mm-hmm.
This is national people coming in with their projects that they want, and they're not all in Union County, and this benefits a whole national regional operation. This and why these decisions are being made. We're being forced into decisions because Commissioner Rape had a story he told me about how Mr. Plyler told him years ago that once you swim halfway across the river, you might as well keep on swimming because it's just as far to go back. And right now we're not across the river. We're not halfway across the river. We're just getting into the river. And if we'll stop this now and make better decisions, we can provide water for the people in this county. We just have to say, where's our focus? What do we want to do? Do we want to provide for the citizens who live here? And as a county commissioner elected by these citizens, I think that's what we're supposed to do. We're not supposed to be worried about national investors and people outside of Union County and what they're going to benefit from this. We're supposed to be worried about you. And we've talked to Alligator Water in Chesterfield County. We've talked to Anson County. I get my water right now from Anson County, and they've been having some issues over there. And the water gets cut off once in a while. What are we going to do? Are we going to wait for 20 years before we even start seeing some of that water from Yadkin to even come over to this side of the county?
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's hard to explain. It's hard for people to get because it's complicated. All people hear is that, well, we're just trying to maintain our system. No, this is a huge investment in a massive growth of Union County that nobody really seems to want, and it just doesn't make sense to keep throwing. I told you earlier that this is the equivalent of you and I going into a landscaping business and buying a combine to mow half-acre lots with. Now we bought a combine. How are we going to get it to those half-acre lots? We got to buy a big semi truck to haul it. So it's just one bad decision after another that requires another. And at the same time, we could be providing water to every citizen in Union County.
Do you think a part of it, though, is for people let's take people who do live in the eastern part of the county or whatever and have given up on ever getting water? They say, you know what, the heck with it. We ain't getting it. Those people, I think, have the attitude of, I ain't paying for it. I don't have water anyway.
They're wrong. They're wrong, and I'll tell you why they're wrong. Because every school in Union County that has water and sewer, you're paying the bill on that water and sewer, and their bill is going to go up 33% too. We don't give it to them; they buy it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think this doesn't affect you because you don't have water and sewer, you're wrong. This is going to affect your tax bill for years to come. This is going to affect your children's tax bill. If we have to build more schools, if we have to build additional capacity and more schools in Western Union County to accommodate these, your tax bill is going to be affected. So if you got your head in the sand saying, well, I don't have water, so this is not my problem. I don't have sewer. This is not my problem. This is exactly your problem because there's going to be other ways that you're going to have to pay for this.
Well, the rate also earmarks some money to run extensions to people that haven't had water before,
okay,
right?
Archie, we asked them that question, and I figured what the answer was, but I asked the question, how much of this, it was $578 million that the first round of all this that's going to require the additional to get to $900 million plus. I said, how much of that is being spent on existing homes and existing customers? $10 million. $10 million out of right now, $900 million is going to be spent on existing homes. And it's like pulling teeth trying to get those things done. People call up and say, hey, how can I get on the thing? Oh, well, the commissioners voted not to do this, not to do that. I mean, that's what people are hearing when they call up. We had a gentleman call up. He said, I've got a water tap to my house, and I'd like to put a water tap to my livestock across the road. Can I hook onto my water? Well, no, you can't do that. You got a water line. I mean, can I pay for another tap? No, you can't do that. It's a policy now that we can't do that. And it's not a commissioner policy. It was a public works policy. So even the people who have water lines going in front of their house, they're trying to keep from tapping onto the water. and not for good reasons, in my opinion.
Should those decisions be made by the Board of Commissioners rather than Public Works
No,
officials?
we should make the decision to put water lines on every single road that we could get water lines on. If we're going to spend $900 million, let's do it for the benefit of the citizens who live here today, not the people who might be buying a house 10, 15 years from now.
You think we need to back out of this program?
I do.
Even at a cost of $50 million?
Even at a cost. It's if again, you've backed out of decisions in your business. I backed out of decisions in my business where I had invested money and invested time and resources. But when you find out that it's going to cost you, way more than what you ever imagined, and once you get into it, it doesn't matter what the cost goes to. It could be twice the cost. You're still going to want to pay it, and I think that's where some of our commissioners may be thinking about this. I know that Commissioner Rape was against the rate increase a week and a half ago, and I know that he was he campaigned for, just like I did, about getting water to people who needed it, whose wells are contaminated, who are running out of water in their wells, and for him to make the motion was just really. I hope there's speculation of why he done it. I don't know why he did it. If you're friends with him, ask him because he needs to explain why he made that decision, and don't let him get off with not telling you why. I don't know if he was threatened with something. I don't know why he changed his mind. Mm-hmm. Commissioner Simpson, Commissioner Akmus, they've been supportive of this the whole time, the Yadkin project. And sometimes when it's your baby, it's hard to call it ugly. That's what Commissioner Helm says, the ugly baby. It's you got to just be honest with yourself. At what point again that does enough become enough? When the project went up by $100 million, a $200 million project went to $300 million, and I'm saying, wait a minute. At what point do we say, where do these figures come from? Why are these increases? Why is this going on? These companies that we have hired for years that this thing has been delayed, are we paying them to sit around and wait for the project to be approved? Because it's still not approved. It still does not have the permitting that it needs to even go forward. And we're talking about increasing rates 33% in a year.
Well, is it, and then we're out of time. We got to go. But is it already past the point of no return because ultimately all the people of Union County can do is vote. That's their.
Well, what they can do is start asking questions.
If you back out of this project, though, you're severing agreements that we've made with these other areas. You got to be careful you don't cut off your nose to spite your face. I mean, we have no water. The only municipality that has water is Monroe. They don't have a ton of it.
Okay, we do have water. We have water that serves the people now. If you have water, you have water.
Right.
What we don't have water for is the next subdivision to be built, the next subdivision to be built, the next subdivision to be built. So we do have water.
Okay.
And we do have sewer.
So why do we need all these new subdivisions? So there are people that would say, rather than raise my rate 31%,
in the Catawba,
let's cut off these subdivisions so we don't need that water.
In the northern part of the county, it is pretty much cut off because there is not enough sewer available to serve the ones that we have now. Mm-hmm. The apartments that have been approved in some of these municipalities that we don't have any control over, there's not enough water and sewer to provide for those facilities in northern Union County, in the Rocky River Basin. Mm-hmm. In the Catawba Basin, we have sewer available. We have a 7.5 million gallon sewer plant. We have that's going to 15 million gallons eventually, and it's permitted for that already. And we have a water plant at Catawba that provides water. So the only limitation that we do have is water and sewer. And again, Union County can continue to grow. It's just how fast and where. Yeah. And if we will work with the city of Monroe will grow. I don't hear very many people complain when the city of Monroe rezones something or votes to put in an industry. But the only complaints we're hearing is where the roads are overcrowded. We've got a bypass that could put a lot of people in Mecklenburg County very quick, but we don't have a real plan to put infrastructure there to help. We're sending all the infrastructure and the water west and to an area that's already overcrowded. Mm-hmm. And again, once you build it, and this is what people don't understand, once you build it, you got to pay for it. And the way you pay for it is high density growth. And that's the only purpose behind sewer is high density growth.
All right. Well, we appreciate you coming in and talking to us today, man.
Oh, thank you. Thank y'all for having me. And again, just, if you don't think this affects you because you don't have water, you don't have sewer, you're wrong. It's going to have an effect on you. And you need to pay attention to this. And it is not a done deal. We don't even have the permits that we need.
Appreciate it, Stony. Thank you. We'll take a break here. We'll be back with more to Breakfast.